Coming up on Newswatch, a man is accused of threatening a group of women in downtown Ithaca with an ice pick. 39 kids sickened with polio-like symptoms in New York State. Hear the warning from health department officials, and why a missing Saudi Arabian journalist's Apple Watch might contain clues relating to his disappearance. All of that and more on Newswatch tonight.
Covering Ithaca and all of Tompkins County. Live on ICTV, Newswatch starts right now.
Thanks for joining us for Newswatch. I'm Sam Lisker.
And I'm Shosh Bedrosian. Ithaca's Cancer Resource Center held their 24th annual walkathon and 5K yesterday. Reporter Alyssa Curtis went to Cass Park for the inspiring event. Take a look.
The Ithaca community hit the ground running yesterday, quite literally, in raising awareness and money for the Cancer Resource Center. The center held their 24th annual walkathon and 5K run at Cass Park. This year, over 800 people participated and raised over $140,000. The event is the center's biggest fundraiser of the year.
I think we just have a reputation for being a wonderful support organization in the community, and they appreciate that we can offer our services free of charge to anybody who needs them. And so in turn, they want to help support us.
Everyone participates for a different reason. Julie Schaefer runs for her loved ones and appreciates the community support.
We have a really strong community here in Ithaca. I know a lot of cancer survivors. I have a friend who passed away a while ago, and I'm running in honor of her and the other people I know whom I love, who are all in this together.
Kaplan says they wouldn't be able to do it without the help from the Ithaca community.
It's a wonderful gathering of the community to help support not just our organization, but the people who we serve.
For Newswatch in Ithaca, I'm Alyssa Curtis.
Now, despite the rain yesterday, the event was a success. Participants were even treated to a pancake breakfast afterwards.
Great story. Police are investigating a stabbing that took place in an apartment complex early on Saturday morning near Chestnut Street. According to police, the suspect forced his way into the victim's home, where he stabbed the victim and stole property. Police arrived on scene shortly after the suspect had fled. The victim was transported to a local trauma center to receive treatment for injuries. If anyone has information, please contact the Ithaca Police Department.
Ithaca police responded to a call on South Plain Street early Saturday morning regarding a man following a group of women. Terrence Shepard was accused of threatening the woman with an ice pick, which he used to make stabbing motions with. Police located Shepard nearby, where he resisted arrest and physically fought officers. Shepard is charged with making threats, first-degree harassment, and more. He is being held in Tompkins County Jail without bail.
And an update to a story we brought you on Thursday. The identity of the bicyclist who was killed in a collision has been identified. According to the Lansing Sheriff's Office, 74-year-old Carl Wolf was traveling southbound on North Triphammer Road before the incident took place. Wolf was killed after merging into the south lane when he was struck by a tractor trailer. Wolf was transported to the Cayuga Trauma Center, where he died due to his injuries. The Sheriff's Office is investigating the incident and have yet to identify the truck driver responsible.
Now, after years of debate and vacancy, the Old Tompkins County Library will soon be demolished. While final approvals are still needed, demolition could begin within the next few weeks. The building was sold to Travis Hyde Properties last year and are planning to turn it into senior living center. Plans for the site include 67 units with different room options, a courtyard garden, a workout facility, restaurants, and more. Now on Thursday, the Ithaca Common Council held their first public hearing on the city's 2019 budget plan. At the hearing, representatives from Ithaca's police and fire departments came to discuss how the planned budget of $76 million will affect them. Ithaca Police Chief Pete Tyler and Fire Chief Tom Parsons asked the council to consider a higher budget so that they can hire more staff in their departments. Council members were unable to provide a final answer to both chiefs, but cited hardships in finding additional room in the proposed budget for new hirees.
Well, a group of male first-year law students at Cornell University are in hot water. A new report revealed that they were rating first-year female law students based on their appearance. According to the Cornell Sun, the male students sent photos of their female counterparts to each other in a private group chat. The university says that faculty at the law school are informing their students of the incident, saying that it violates school policy if true. Cornell would not provide any further comment, citing that the issue is being investigated as a Title IX incident.
Now coming up, a rare disease is putting New York parents on alert. The warning from the Department of Health and the technology that may provide answers to the location of missing Saudi Arabian journalist. But first, let's check out weather with Von Golden. Let's look at the forecast for this week.
Hey, I hope you like your soft classic rock because it's going to be a rainy days and Mondays coming up this week. I'll have the full forecast for you later on.
Welcome back. The suspect accused in the shooting of 12-year-old James Springer III was arrested by authorities on Friday. 22-year-old Alberto Panay was arraigned in Syracuse court on second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Springer was standing in a group when the shooting occurred, and it has been reported that he was likely not the intended target. The judge in the case did not set bail for Panay on Saturday, instead sending him right back to jail. Panay is expected to reappear on court October 18th, where his bail will be set. Now, the New York parents and healthcare givers are on alert for a rare disease called EVD68. 9 children have been diagnosed with the disease in New York State. Symptoms can look like polio, including mild to severe breathing problems and weakness in the arms and legs. New York State Health Commissioner said that the department could continue to work with their partners and local health groups in fighting the disease. Some ways of preventing illness include washing one's hands for 20 seconds and disinfecting frequently touched surfaces. For more information, go to the Health Center website.
Well, 8 of the 20 people killed in a limousine crash in upstate New York were memorialized in a combined public service on Friday. Among those being remembered, 4 sisters from the King family, 3 of their husbands, and a brother-in-law. The group was on the way to a birthday party last Saturday when the limo crashed. The son of the limo company owner has been charged with criminally negligent homicide in the crash. Those paying respects Friday included friends, family members, and others who didn't know the victim personally. Well, in response to the crash, New York State Senator Samacha Felder proposed new legislation that would regulate stretch limousines in the state. The proposed legislation would require new procedures, such as limousines off-road after 10 years for rigorous safety inspections and replacing them if they fail. According to the bill memorandum, stretch limos will have to abide by a new set of regulations if passed.
For the third time, state regulators have extended a settlement talks with the cable company Spectrum. Spectrum now has 45 additional days to file an exit plan, along with a petition for the commission to reconsider keeping them in the state. In July, New York State has ordered Spectrum to leave due to not extending their coverage to underserved areas. The commission overseeing the discussion said that talks between both parties have been productive so far. If the settlement is successful, Spectrum would be able to continue operating in New York State.
Now less than 4 weeks away from Election Day, Governor Andrew Cuomo has no clear agreement on whether or not he will be participating in debates. Republican nominee Mark Molinaro is hoping to square off with Cuomo, but his campaign says they have not agreed on any terms yet. The two-term Democrat is currently leading in the polls and has more campaign funds than his opponents. The League of Women Voters legislative director said that they would organize a debate between Cuomo and the other candidates. The league also mentioned that if Cuomo decided not to partake in the forum, they would leave a chair open for him. The Mega Millions jackpot climbs to $654 million after Friday's winning numbers drew no matches. No ticket matched all 6 numbers drawn that night, but the next drawing time will be Tuesday. It costs $2 to play the game, but your luck will be hard to come by since winning the jackpot is 1 in 302 million. The upcoming drawing will be the 4th largest lottery prize in U.S. history. Well, residents are slowly returning to towns devastated by Hurricane Michael, some finding nothing left of their homes or businesses. Now efforts to clean up are underway, but there's a long road ahead. CNN's Natasha Chen is in Panama City, Florida, one of the towns hardest hit by Michael, with the latest.
A grim reality is setting in this weekend for residents impacted by Hurricane Michael.
75% of our city's not here.
As people return to the rubble of their Florida Panhandle communities,
There's not one local business that's operational. Not one.
the death toll continues to rise, and officials say it could be days to weeks before everyone is accounted for. The lack of power and spotty cell phone service add to the frustrations of emergency response crews already stretched thin.
A lot of our homes, a lot of our families have been displaced, homes have been destroyed, damage has been everywhere. So we're having to deal with that as we're dealing with this incident as well.
While rescue workers cut through massive piles of debris in search of survivors, residents are lining up at community centers for bottled water and ready-to-eat meals. Governor Rick Scott assures people there is help for those in need.
We've distributed, I think, about 2 million meals. I think it's 1 million gallons of water.
And he had this warning for those eager to return home.
Don't touch down power lines. If you use a generator, know how to use it. Don't make a mistake and use it in your house. So I'm wanting to get everybody to stay safe.
But local officials say it's going to take time for things to get back to normal.
We are going to build this city back. It's going to be beautiful. And now we have about 2 months before our power grid's going to be back up. Probably a few days before we have water. And when we have water, it's not going to be drinkable water.
In Panama City, Florida, I'm Natasha Chen.
Thank you, Natasha. A new CNN poll finds Americans split on whether Trump will get a second term and preferring Biden to Bernie. According to a new CNN poll conducted by SSRS, 47% of those surveyed say President Donald Trump will not get reelected, and 46% think he will. Those numbers are better than they were earlier this year. Back in March, 54% of adults surveyed thought he would lose a re-election bid. On the Democratic side, former Vice President Joe Biden leads a pack of possible presidential contenders. When asked to choose their preference from among 16 candidates, 33% said Biden could win in 2020, compared to 13% who backed 2016 Democratic runner-up Bernie Sanders. The poll surveyed 1,009 Americans by telephone between October 4th and October 7th.
In Texas, a misunderstanding could have turned deadly. Students playing hostage takers came face to face with a real gun when a school resource officer thought the danger was real. Tonight, parents have surprising reactions to the news, and we are learning what led to that mistake. KTRK's Jessica Willey reports.
It's Friday night in Devonwood and Baytown, and still school is the subject.
We love our kids, we love our school.
Jeree Kaiser was one of hundreds of parents whose children brought home this letter from Clark Elementary in Baytown. It details a mix-up with potentially serious consequences. On Wednesday, during an emergency drill with a hostage situation scenario, a Baytown police DARE officer drew his gun on 2 high school theater students. They had fake wooden guns. Apparently, he wasn't aware of the drill. He heard lockdown and responded. A district spokeswoman says he immediately figured out what was happening.
He's a good officer then. He knew what the situation was and how to decipher that situation.
No one was hurt when asked if he had fired his gun. A district spokeswoman said, quote, he didn't. You have to commend the officer. He responded to what he thought was an active scene and realized almost immediately it was a drill. Kaiser finds no fault either.
I was happy that the person made the decision to act to protect my children and to protect the teachers who teach my children.
The district says it fully informs the community ahead of emergency drills. And Kaiser remembers her notification. How the officer did not know is unclear. The district says if there's something they can do better, they will. These parents are satisfied with how it was handled.
He was honestly just doing his job at the end of the day.
Jessica Willey, 13 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Jessica. Coming up, Vaughn Golden will have your 7-day forecast. Stick with us.
Welcome back. Well, Vaughn, fall break is coming up, and while many students are heading out of Ithaca College, what is in store for us for those that are staying?
Well, the ones that are going to be here, they're going to see pretty much the same as what we've been seeing over the last week or so. Nothing like we saw last week with those scorchers in the 80-degree temperatures, but it's going to be a fairly standard October week. A little bit of rain coming in towards the end here, but for the most part, it's going to be fairly standard Ithaca October weather. Right now, we're looking at pretty low temperatures into the 40s overnight. And during the day tomorrow, we are looking at some rain coming our way. As far as what we had today, again, the high of 58, normal high is 57, and same with the lows. It's fairly standard. Now, looking ahead for today, for tonight, excuse me. We're going to have some fairly low temperatures. They're going to be dropping to the 40s, and then moving into tomorrow, those temperatures are going to come back up to the 50s. But what's coming in is this rain system here. It's moving out from West Virginia here up to New York, and that'll be on our doorstep tomorrow morning. So you want to head out to work with your umbrella, with your rain jacket, and be prepared for a little bit of a washout on your way in and your way out. Those storms will be out of the way by the end of tomorrow, so we're going to be looking at some fairly sunny skies moving through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Moving forward here, again, yeah, we're going to hit the 60s in the middle of the week here, but nothing like we saw last week with the 80s and 60s, 50s temperatures for most of the week. Again, tomorrow is going to be a fairly rainy day. Rainy days and Mondays, highs in the 60s. Tuesday, we got the 50s coming at you, sunny and pleasant. Could see some spotted showers around on Wednesday. About a 30% chance of precipitation there. So you might want to bring your umbrella with you, might not. It's going to be your call. All right. And moving forward through the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're going to see some rain in the forecast. So get all your weekend activities, your errands done as you can on Friday when that sun is going to be shining. And we're looking at temperatures are going to be dropping as we move on through the rest of the month. And we're going to maybe see some snow here in the distant future.
Oh, gosh.
You know, Vaughn, that's really interesting you mentioned that, because I also heard a little rumor about snow being in the distant future here in Ithaca. Now, how distant are we expected to potentially see any snowfall?
Well, normal temperatures will drop into about the 30s as we get to the end of the month. And in October, the average precipitation for snowfall is about an inch. So we're going to see that coming in around Halloween. Maybe we're going to see some white on top of the pumpkins as we're out there trick-or-treating.
That's pretty spooky, Vaughn. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Well, when we return, how investigators are using a watch to find the missing Saudi Arabian journalist.
And another natural disaster hits Indonesia as they continue to clean up from the last. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. While a Turkish newspaper reports missing journalist Jamal Khashoggi may have recorded his own death on his Apple Watch, then somehow sent that recording to his phone in iCloud, many are questioning if that could really happen. CNN's Becky Anderson looked into that.
Here in Turkey, an Apple Watch like this can't connect to the internet all by itself, and that is important. Have a look at this. We record here, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, bang, save it, and that comes up on this straight away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I take the phone away, and even though we record, nothing happens. And that's just as Apple itself describes the technology on its website. And that is all important because we know Jamal didn't have his main iPhone on him. He'd left it outside with his fiancée. So there are three main possibilities. One, his watch could have stayed linked to his iPhone outside through Bluetooth, but that is really unlikely, experts tell CNN, because they would have been too far apart. Two, he could have another phone synced up in his pocket, for example. There's no indication of that, however. Option 3, Khashoggi was logged onto the consulate's Wi-Fi, but for someone in self-imposed exile, connecting to a Wi-Fi connection from that country's consulate wouldn't be smart. A major cybersecurity risk. So, are any of these possible? Yes, but they are all extremely unlikely.
A happy scene in the midst of devastation in Palu, Indonesia. A 7-year-old boy was reunited with his father and grandmother yesterday. For weeks, he was separated from his family following the earthquake and tsunami that hit the country. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres told CNN that about 7,000 people are still missing. The Indonesian government has extended the state of emergency until October 26th. Now, across the country, at least 11 students are dead and 10 others missing in Indonesia. That comes after flooding wiped part of the elementary school in Mandailing, Natal, Friday. State media reports that some of the students were buried under the debris and mud after the Alek Saladi River overflowed. The 8 students were able to make it out safely. 9 sub-districts of North Sumatra were affected by this flooding.
Stay tuned for Sports Final coming up here after Newswatch. Here are David Lillian and Tara Lynch with a look at what's ahead.
Thanks, Shosh and Sam. Coming up later on ICTV is Sports Final live at 8 o'clock. We've missed you the last couple Sundays, but let's see what's happened this week in sports. IC men's soccer took down Union in a Liberty League showdown. Also featured tonight is IC field hockey.
And Oregon took home a thrilling overtime victory against rivals Washington. We'll have Jack Culkin in studio to break down all things college football.
And Aaron Bogan will be joining us in the studio to break down the MLB postseason. Boston and the Houston here, an exciting game 1 last night.
Back to Shosh and Sam, but remember ICTV 8 p.m. live Sports Final is coming up.
Well, Sam and Vaughn, I don't know about you guys, but I love a good old slice of carrot cake after a night at this anchor desk.
You know, Shosh, it is such a coincidence you mentioned that, because today is National Dessert Day.
That is such a great thing, because here in Ithaca, my favorite spot is definitely Life is So Sweet Chocolates. It's my favorite getaway here.
Well, it sounds really good. I'll have to pay that place a visit. My new favorite dessert spot here in Ithaca is a place called Sweet Melissa's. They have random flavor ice creams every day, and the last one I had was apple cider. Not gonna lie, it was pretty darn tasty.
Yeah, well, it's definitely neat. Now, Vaughn, tell us what your favorite place and what your favorite dessert is.
Hey, I'm pretty simple. I'm not hard to please. I like a nice night out to Purity, or frankly, just with a box of chocolate chip cookies that I finished myself from Wegmans.
Oh,
That's really funny, Vaughn. Now, question: vanilla or chocolate ice cream? That's the real debate right now.
Chocolate. Are you kidding?
Chocolate all the way?
Vanilla if you put some maple syrup on it.
Maple syrup.
Secret, yeah.
Oh.
Maple syrup on chocolate ice cream.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm definitely going to have to try that one out. Thanks, Vaughn. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Jack Sears and Jaysha Patel will be here at the news desk on Tuesday with more local and national stories.
Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.